You probably had the experience where there's a knock at the door and you really didn't have the time for the person and you didn't want to really open the door. But what if that knock at the door was someone who wanted to give you a special gift, who wanted to absolutely change your life for the better? What if that person was Jesus, who wanted to come in with you and give you the gift of a better life and indeed eternal life? So in this video, that's what I'm going to be talking about. The Bible speaks of Jesus doing this, knocking on the door. And so we're going to look at that in this video. I'm Pastor John Jeffries from JesusReasons.com. Doors are a big part of everybody's life. They're just everywhere. And they're important for us because it draws the line between what is inside and outside. It is the place where we exit or enter into a building. It is the place of safety, perhaps, versus a place of non-safety. And so being inside a building, having come through the door, is something we're all very familiar with. And Jesus uses this illustration for one of the important messages he wants to give. Let me read to you this passage from Revelation chapter 3, verse 20 in the Bible. Here I am. I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with that person and they with me. In this passage, Jesus is using your house as a metaphor for your life. He's using the idea of the house as your life and the door as a way of talking about how he might enter into your life. Now, if we can just run with that example and think of your life, what's in that life? What's in that house? So there are rooms and there are things in those rooms, and those things could be your past acts, happy times, sad times, shameful times, your thoughts, your relationships, and so on. And so Jesus stands at the door and knocks and wants to come in. Now I want to note that Jesus knocks on the door. He doesn't kick the door down. He doesn't just open up the door and come in and say, "Here I am." He knocks. Now when a person knocks on a door, it means they want to come in, but they will only come in if they are invited in. And so that's the way Jesus approaches us as people. He knocks on the door of our life, and we can either let him in or not. This knocking on the door that Jesus speaks of is something that is persistent. He doesn't just knock once and then goes away. He will stay there and keep knocking and will wait for your response. This knocking on the door may go on all your life. And Jesus may be saying to you, I want to come in to your life. I want to improve your life, your relationships. I want to improve the way that you live and the happiness that you experience in this life. And I want to give you eternal life. And the example that Jesus uses is that he wants to come in and eat with you and indeed you with him. So we invite people into our houses and we eat with one another. In a social context, this is a very common thing to do. Now, Jesus doesn't describe himself as coming into your house and cleaning up straight away and ordering you around and telling you to get him something to eat. Rather, he comes in as a gentleman, as it were, with dignity, with patience, and sits down with you and eats with you and you with him. So the point of this is that Jesus isn't coming in for some strict relationship with you. He's coming in for a relationship of friendship with you. That's what he wants. And so the idea of eating with you is a symbol of that relationship that he wants with you. He wants to be your friend. He wants to be like a friend would be to you. Now, you may think that that is a strange idea for a man who claimed to be the Son of God. Surely a person who claims to be the Son of God would want some status with other people. Now, while he would like to be respected, he also wants to be treated as friends. And indeed, of his own disciples, he said this. This is from John chapter 15, verse 15 of the Bible. Jesus says this, "I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends, for everything that I learned from my Father I have made known to you." I want to emphasize two conditions, if you like, or two things that you are presented with in this verse from Revelation chapter 3. Jesus says, "I stand at the door and knock." And the first thing that you need to do is to be able to hear the knocking. That's what is one of the conditions. And the second one is that you open the door to Jesus. Now again, bringing this into our lives, the question is, are you hearing the knock of Jesus on the door of your life? And secondly, are you opening it to him? Unfortunately, many people go through life with Jesus knocking on the door, but they don't hear the knock. And the reason for this is many-fold, but it can involve the busyness of life. It can involve the pursuit of particular things that take your attention. That can be sports and business and friendships and so forth. And all of those things, there's nothing wrong in themselves, but they can flood your life. The media, entertainment things and so forth, these can flood your life. And while Jesus is knocking, sometimes you just don't hear it. There may be that little thought in your mind about spiritual things, about eternal life, about why we are here, but then you quickly dismiss them from your mind. Those little thoughts coming into your mind is part of Jesus knocking on the door. And the second part of this is that once you've heard the knock on the door, you must open the door for Jesus. He won't force his way in, but you open the door and invite him into your life. And it doesn't matter what your house looks like. It doesn't matter what you've done in your life. It doesn't matter how dirty or shameful or in whatever state the house of your life is, Jesus will come in and he will gladly eat with you and you with him. And when you open the door to Jesus, you also must permit him into every room of your life. That is the best way, because Jesus will come along and help you to tidy up your life as well. Now, that's not written in this verse that we're looking at, but we do know that when Jesus is invited into the house of our life, he will go about helping us to clean up our life and to make it a far better existence. Some people can be too afraid to let Jesus into their life. They think, will he be disgusted with me? Will I have to be in fear of him? Will I be just a disgrace to him? Jesus doesn't care about that. He said that the people who are sick are the ones who call for the doctor. And so, in a sense, Jesus is like the doctor that you have called. He expects things not to be perfect because none of us are perfect. But if you have heard that knock, then I invite you to open the door to him. Let him into your life. And how do you do that? Well, you just start off by saying, Lord, come into my life. I open the door for you. Come in and eat with me and me with you, and I will do whatever it is that you want of me. That's how you start. Thank you for watching. This has been Pastor John Jeffries of JesusReasons.com, and I trust that you will hear the knock on the door of your life and open the door to Jesus. I can promise you that life will improve when you do, and you will then have the promise and the hope of eternal life.